This is McCook's Mr. Bill's an honor to have you here. The story of the week, yesterday, I had a junior high kid come up to the candy truck, and to get his snow cone. But I noticed on the side in his pocket, he had, if I can get it out of it, he had 7 knives, 5 in one pocket and 2 in the other with clips that on the outside of the belt, so you could see the 5 lined up and the 2 lined up. 7 knives that kid was carrying. They were little knives either. I would guesstimate 3.5-inch blades. Not the same kind of knives, but different knives, but all of the same basic concept of a folding lock blade knife. 7. And so Mr. Bill had to ask the question, of course, why do you need 7 knives? Not that you can't have the right to have a knife, not in school, but most junior high kids pack a knife. So I said, why 7? And he said, well, if somebody starts shooting, he said, all I would have if I had just one knife is one knife to throw. What if I miss? What if I miss? So I have other knives that I can throw at the shooter, the crazy shooter, and, be able to get him, because I might miss the first 1 or 2 times. I shook my head a little bit and said, I doubt seriously if a crazy man killing everybody in his vicinity is going to allow you, after you've thrown one knife at him, to stand there and let you throw other knives at him till you make a contact with a knife. And even if you're lucky enough to throw your first small knife into him, and you stick him, you've got him, more than likely he's still going to live more than long enough to turn around and put a round or 2 or 3 into you. So I'm not sure that's a great plan you have. That doesn't mean if you've got a knife and he's facing the other way that you couldn't rush him and put a knife in his back. I understand. If he's a crazy killing people, stopping him should be the number 1 priority after trying to survive yourself. Might be wise just to play dead. Be that as it may, if you're going to be a hero, use a little common sense. And 7 knives, I don't think, is up there real high on the totem pole of common sense. You do what you want, though. I'm not going to tell you not to. It is interesting how kids see things, and how they try to perceive the world, and how they try to figure out an answer to a problem that seems to be all around, or at least on the television all too often. Give him credit for that. But if you're talking about a knife and kids, in this area, it's almost a rite of passage. Most junior high kids have a knife. Whether they're allowed to carry it or not, their parents will allow them to have a knife. I am shocked, though, over the last 37 years talking to parents that say, yeah, my kid can have a knife. And I asked him, I said, well, did you give him any education? Did you talk to him about the safety of a knife? And knife safety, if you will. Knife safety. If nothing else, something in the line of Boy Scouts or something like that. The safety and handling of a knife. And also, how about the laws? What are the laws in your area, be it town, county, state? What are the laws concerning a young person at that age, whatever age they be, and packing a knife around? And of course, I would also go into how to sharpen a knife. Most of the kids that show me a knife, unless it's brand new and already got an edge on it, most of them wouldn't cut hot butter. And they always like a bigger knife, and I always try to tell the kids a little knife will do all the cutting you need. And it won't weigh you down. And if by chance you say, my kid doesn't need that education, just remember, just as you see 200 million guns in this country, there's twice that many knives in this country. So they're going to be around them whether you give them one or not. And so just the common sense and the education about a knife might save their life. Including if you say, I will never allow my child to have a knife. Okay. North Platte, a young gentleman, junior high age, he wanted to go fishing and he wanted to take his father's knife. His father said no. That was the end of it. His father left, and the boy, he took the knife and took it out of the sheath because he was afraid he'd lose the sheath, and laid it down. And then he carried the knife in one hand, riding the bicycle, and the fishing pole in the other, and he went down to the river. On the way, he wrecked the bike, and the knife that he was holding without a sheath on it, he fell and it stabbed him, and he bled to death before he got home. He bled to death before he got home. If his father would have just said yes, but make sure you got the sheath and maybe even strap it onto the bike with the sheath, or better yet, just give him a folding knife of some kind, something that would have been a whole bunch safer for that child to have, his boy would be alive instead of in the ground.